Hey y'all, welcome to Peyton Energetics. I'm Peyton, and I'm a Pleiadian channel and starseed coach. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about starseed transmuters. This is kind of a specialized topic. It's something that I've been talking about on and off over the past year or two, because starseed transmuters are a special category of starseed, and transmuters are being activated right now. And one of the tricky things about starseed transmuters is a lot of us don't know we are one. So I've talked in a couple videos over the past 2 years about what starseed transmuters are. And I'm going to link those videos at the top of the screen throughout today's video, so you can go back and see all the background on this topic in case you think you might be a transmuter. But what I want to share in today's video is my latest research into starseed transmuters. Because when I released those last couple of videos about transmuters, I got so many comments, so many questions, and so many people wanting to know more, wanting to know how to get training as a transmuter. So we're going to be going deeper into the topic of transmuters in today's video. But before we jump into talking about starseed transmuters, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't done that yet. Now, when we talk about transmuters today, I'm not going to go back through all the history that I gave y'all in those earlier videos. So as I mentioned, I will share those in the cards at the top of the screen, not in the description, because I tend to forget to put things in the description. So look for the links to the older videos at the top of your screen throughout today's video, because those older videos are going to give you the entire history of what transmuters are. So if you are a starseed and don't know if you're a transmuter, check out those older videos for the things to look for to help you tell if this is something that you're doing. Because today we're going to be going in a slightly different direction, and I'm going to be sharing my latest research with you on transmuters. Because one thing I have noticed that caused such a flood of questions and comments from those earlier transmuter videos is that there is so little information out there in the spiritual community to help transmuters. This is an area that there's not much in the way of resources to help transmuters. So everything I have been sharing in these videos is from my own personal experience being a transmuter, having to be my own guinea pig and learn all of this stuff the hard way, and from what I've learned after working with thousands of starseeds. I notice as I have coached and taught a lot of transmuters over the years that I'm able to start piecing together some things that can be very helpful for transmuters to understand about themselves. So today, I'm just going to share with you my latest research and what the Pleiadians are sharing with me to help transmuters right now. Because something that is happening in these energies is we are going through a mass awakening of starseed transmuters. So there are some things that's really helpful to understand right now if you even think you might be a transmuter, and those earlier videos are going to help you figure that out. So make sure you check out those old videos if you missed them the first time. So just to give kind of a quick summary of what we talked about in the earlier videos, so you're not totally lost in what we're talking about today. What are we talking about when we talk about starseed transmuters? Well, when I use this term, what we're talking about is a special category, kind of a subset you can think of the starseed community. And as you know, starseeds are humans who have a lot of galactic energy. So when we talk about starseeds in general, I'm referring to humans who have more than the typical amount of galactic energy. So starseeds are humans who vibrate on a different radio station than your typical human. And so because of that, one of the reasons that starseeds are here right now is to support Earth through the ascension process. Starseeds go about doing this in many different ways. And the most general way that starseeds are of service to humanity right now in the ascension process is by downloading that galactic energy that they just naturally carry into the Earth grid system. So you can think of starseeds as being volunteers. They are here to raise the frequency of the planet. And as they go about their daily life, they are constantly downloading that very unique galactic frequency into the Earth grid system. So starseeds are 24/7 sharing their very unique galactic frequency with all of humanity. And as they do that, they start to lift the frequency of the entire planet. Now, starseeds a lot of times are very motivated, very inspired to be of service in particular ways. And sometimes we'll refer to this as a starseed's soul mission. That's one way you can look at it. But essentially, it just means that starseeds very often intended to be of service in a particular way in this lifetime. And one of the ways that certain starseeds do that is by what we call transmuting energy. So this is what I'm referring to when I talk about starseeds who are transmuters. Now, as you're probably familiar, as humans, we all transmute energy. We do it naturally, we do it without thinking about it, and even humans who we might consider to be asleep or not on the spiritual path are transmuting energy. Everyone does this. But when we talk about starseed transmuters, we're talking about people who are doing this on a whole nother level. So this is the difference between a kid playing basketball in his driveway and a famous NBA player. It's all about the scale. So when we talk about starseed transmuters, we're talking about starseeds who are moving massive amounts of energy through their physical bodies. So this is one of the ways that certain starseeds have chosen to be of service in this lifetime. So the way transmuters function is that they bring in huge amounts of planetary energy into their physical body. They process that energy, they integrate it, they break it down, and they convert it into light, into higher vibrational energy. So what transmuters are often doing is working with massive amounts of energy, way more than the average human, even way more than the average lightworker or starseed. So what makes a transmuter somewhat unique is the volume of energy they are processing. So what can happen as transmuters are doing this, and most of us are doing this without having any awareness of it. This is something that transmuters do naturally at an unconscious level. We don't go out into our neighborhood intending to transmute energy. It is just something that we do if we are a transmuter. But here's the thing. Because transmuters are moving such massive volumes of energy through their bodies, it can burn out the physical body. So one thing that often identifies people as being a transmuter of energy is serious issues with the physical body. And this is something that helped me figure out that I was a transmuter, is because my body was a wreck. I always felt terrible. I was in pain all the time. I was exhausted all the time. I had tremendous levels of anxiety and stress all the time. And it didn't match what was going on in my life. That's one of the clues that you may be a transmuter. So one thing that is really important and why I'm spending all this time talking to transmuters and giving them this information is because transmuters, more than any other starseed or lightworker, can really suffer in this lifetime if they don't know how to transmute safely, if they don't know how to do their soul mission comfortably. So one of the things that can help you identify if you may be a transmuter yourself is if you have had massive struggles with the physical body. And when I was learning that I was a transmuter, chronic problems with the body were what started to put me on the trail of figuring out what was wrong, because there was no medical explanation for it. There was nothing wrong with me, but I felt horrible all the time. And I had the advantage, as I mentioned in some of those older videos, of having teachers as I was going through my intuitive training, reading and watching my energy field and explaining to me what they were seeing. And this is what first started me on the trail of figuring out that some starseeds work with energy in this very unusual way as transmuters. And what transmuters are often doing then is bringing in way more energy than the physical body can safely handle, which is one of the reasons why almost across the board, starseed transmuters report having massive issues with the body. So one of the reasons that I'm talking about transmuters so much in these videos is to help transmuters get the help that they need, because being a transmuter can be a whole lot of no fun if you don't know how to do it safely and comfortably. So if you're a transmuter and you are bringing in massive volumes of energy into a damaged, unstable energy field, which, let's face it, that's what most of us have unless we've been doing a lot of energy work on ourselves, what happens is it it's almost like overloading a fuse, that you're just bringing in more wattage, more voltage than your body can handle. And so this can cause a lot of pain and suffering for starseeds who are transmuters of energy. Now, you can be a transmuter and also fall into some of the other categories of starseed soul mission. So if you consider yourself to be a teacher or healer, a grid worker, an anchor, a resonator, you may still be transmuting as well. So remember, when we talk about these different types of starseed, they often overlap. So you can be several different things at once. So transmuters really are the energy alchemists of the starseed world, in that they are doing the heavy lifting. So traditionally, transmuters have been fairly rare in the starseed community. After coaching and teaching lots and lots of starseeds over the years, until recently, I had only come across a handful of transmuters. But what is happening now, according to the Pleiadians, is we're seeing an explosion of transmuters. And one of the reasons we are seeing such an explosion of transmuters right now is because of where we are in the ascension process. A lot of us have moved out of the phase of doing our personal work. So we have been working for years, most of us, to do all of our healing and our self-work. And we've moved out of working on our personal stuff. And so a lot of transmuters now are getting the call to action. The siren sound is going off for transmuters, and they are being awakened in huge numbers because they're being called to work on breaking down planetary energies. As we are going through the final collapse of the 3D matrix, we are starting to work on bigger and bigger energies. So I am seeing in my practice an explosion of transmuters. Whereas there used to be a few here and there, one or two or three, and I'd always be surprised when I ran into one. Now they are coming out of the woodwork. And the reason for this is that transmuters are being called to step into the next level of their soul mission, which is processing massive planetary energies. Now, if y'all look around at the world around us and you see that's kind of a dumpster fire, when you think about being someone who has agreed at the soul level to transmute all of this negative energy of humanity, it's a pretty big job. So as we look around and see the collective shadow on full display, being a transmuter is a really big job. Because transmuters, of course, are transmuting all of the negative energy of humanity into light. So you can think of yourself as being the washing machine that is laundering all of humanity's dirty laundry. That is what transmuters are doing. They are pulling all of the negativity of humanity, of the planet, all of the density of the 3D matrix into their physical body, and processing that energy through their heart chakra. And every transmuter will do this slightly differently. There is no one size fits all from what I have seen of transmuters. Everyone works a little bit differently and is working on slightly different energies. But as you can imagine, as you look out at what is happening in the world, this is a job that you want to take kind of seriously. So when transmuters are out there doing their thing and don't know how to do this work properly, safely, and comfortably, this can burn you out. And that's one of the reasons why I'm continuing to share my latest findings about transmuters with you guys, is so you get the help that you need. Because being a transmuter can be really rough on the physical body if you are not in a balanced, stable energy field, and most of us aren't. And if you don't know how to move this massive amount of energy through your body in a way that is comfortable. So in addition right now to this massive wave of awakening of transmuters, something else that I am noticing as I talk to the Pleiadians and study the transmuters that I work with is that transmuters are now being called to work in very specific ways. So if you are kind of resonating with this concept of being a transmuter, even if you're not sure that this sounds like something you want to be resonating with, and I get that, then you may be finding that you're being pulled in very unusual and specific directions. Because one thing I am noticing with the current wave of awakening of transmuters is that everyone is doing this a little differently. Transmuters are not all the same. In fact, the more I study transmuters and coach transmuters, the more I'm noticing that everyone does this differently. Some are here to transmute energy for their country or for their continent. Others are here to do this work on the grid system. So these transmuters may be overlapping with grid workers. So everyone is doing this slightly differently. And every transmuter that I've seen and worked with seems to move energy through their body in a different way. So something that is really important if you resonate even a little bit with this idea of being a transmuter is to find out how you move energy, because transmuters need special tools to be able to do this properly. Now, of course, we all do it naturally. You're going to be transmuting even if you do nothing at all to develop your ability. As I said, the only downside to that is it tends to burn out the physical body. And as we move into this meltdown of the 3D matrix, if you are bringing massive amounts of collective energies into your body right now, without proper tools and training, it can be disastrous for the physical body. So that's one of the reasons why it is so important for transmuters, more than anyone, more than any other starseed or lightworker, to get proper training. And in the next video, I'm going to tell y'all how I train transmuters so that you know some resources that are available to you if you're recognizing that you may need a little help with this, because it can make all the difference in how you feel as you do this work. Because it can be really easy for transmuters in these energies with just what's going on in the world around us to be bringing this energy into our bodies without the proper technique. And it can just be too much energy for the physical body, especially if our physical body is already kind of a little beat down by all the intense energies hitting the planet. It can be kind of a risky thing. And there are absolutely incredibly powerful tools to help transmuters move this energy through their body without overloading the physical body. And that's something I'm going to talk about in the next video. I'm going to tell y'all how I train transmuters so that you know what kind of tools and resources are available to help you. Because just one of the big kind of blind spots that we've had in the spiritual community is that there are not many resources out there to help transmuters. So a lot of the transmuters that I have worked with have suffered in silence for their entire lives, not knowing that there were tools out there that could help them do this more comfortably. There are. So we'll dive into those in the next video. But for now, if you are a transmuter, you may be noticing that you're being called to do unusual things. There are transmuters who are being called to particular areas of the planet right now because they are needed in particular areas to process the density. You may be noticing that you are, as a transmuter, being called to isolate more often. So if you are being called to pull yourself out of being out and around in the population, it may be that you're being called to kind of go into hermit mode so that you can do your serious transmuter work without being affected by so many external vibrations. So I'm seeing a lot of trends in the transmuter community right now where transmuters are being called to the next phase of their spiritual mission. And that may be to work in particular areas. It may be that you're being called to work with particular people, to spend more time with certain groups, or it may be the opposite, that you're being called to pull away from people a little bit more so that you can do your work kind of from more of a quiet zone. So essentially right now we are entering the season of the transmuter where there is a global explosion of people who are resonating with this as just being part of their spiritual mission. Even though it can be a little bit of a double-edged sword to be a transmuter, my heart always goes out to anyone who identifies with this, because I know that being a transmuter can be a particularly bumpy road. It really can be not much fun until you know how to do it comfortably. But one of the amazing things about being a transmuter is because you have the ability to work with such massive amounts of energy, way more than the average person, you are a master manifester. The guides have said that transmuters can shift the timelines for the entire planet. So there is definitely an upside to being a transmuter, although there is a bit of a downside. So one of the advantages of being a transmuter is you can manifest like crazy. And the more you get proper training and tools to learn how to control your energy, which will be, y'all, I cannot recommend that highly enough. It will be a game changer for you. Once you really learn how to master working with your energy, you can create anything. There are no limits because transmuters naturally work with massive levels of energy. So that is the upside to being a transmuter, to go with that hefty downside of it being a little brutal on the physical body. In the next video, we'll talk about training for transmuters because there's not a lot of resources out there to help transmuters. So a big part of what I am doing now is training transmuters so that you don't have to suffer in silence. Because most of us, we've had enough of the suffering. Most transmuters, our whole lives have been kind of about suffering, and we're done with that. So in the next video, we're going to talk about the kind of training that I recommend for transmuters. I will walk y'all through how I train transmuter clients, what I think the essential elements are that all transmuters should know how to do, in case you're wanting to start doing some of this training yourself, because we're going to be doing this work whether we do it consciously or not. So we may as well feel good while we do it, right? We may as well be in control of the process because being a transmuter can easily become a runaway train. So stay tuned for the next video and let me know in the comments below, what other questions do y'all have about transmuters? I know this is a topic that's starting to resonate with so many people. So drop those in the comment box below. And while you're down there, don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't done that yet. I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.